Recording. Perfect. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me this evening. I really appreciate it. As I mentioned, I am competing with both the Leafs and the Blue Jays, and so exciting times out there. So I really do appreciate you choosing to spend your time with me to learn a little bit about the immune system, which is your body's first line of defense. So we'll talk a little bit about myself. First of all, my name is Caroline Farquhar. I'm a medical advisor at CanPrev. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist. I'm certified as an energy and medicine practitioner as well as a Reiki master. I taught at the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition, and I also have a psychology degree. And what all of this means is that I take a very holistic approach to healing. It's mind, body, and spirit. Things that have happened way in your past when you were a kid could be the underlying reason that you're getting certain symptoms today. So going into Healthy Planet, and I want to say thank you to Healthy Planet for hosting me this evening. When you go in there and you're looking for a supplement to help you with a symptom, it could be related to something that happened many years ago or something recently. So I do take this holistic approach, and we're going to talk about the immune system holistically and how we can support it holistically tonight. I am a speaker. I've been doing this for over 20 years now. I love making jewelry. I love crafting. I'm an avid concert goer. That's where most of my spare change goes to. I travel and I love all animals, but especially cats. I have a soft spot for them. So today's agenda, we're going to talk about why the cold and flu season happens at the same time every year, right about now. So what is the immune system? Why does immune health matter? And then we're going to talk about some natural support for stronger immunity. The key that I always, in every interaction, every training I ever do is I try to empower people so that you can always make the right decisions for yourself. So I give you as much information as I possibly can, and then hopefully it's something that you can just take throughout your life for yourself as well as for your family. And we are going to give away this prize pack. So this is exciting. If you stay right till the very end, we can tell on the back end how long people stayed on the call. If you stay right to the end, those people are going to be put into a draw, and then we're going to be drawing for this prize pack. So a lucky winner right now, I see 66 people on the call, so the odds aren't too bad. All right. So, books, briefcases, and sniffles. What happens this time every year? We get the cold and the flu season come around, and we might ask ourselves, like, why does it happen at the same time every year? Well, there's a few factors. When we go back to school and we spend less time outside in the sun doing physical activity, we're spending more time in close quarters, we're sharing germs. There's cooler, drier air, changes in routine, there's a lot more stress, less sleep. This can all weaken our immune system, and then it makes it easier to catch colds and flu viruses. So a lot of times it does happen in the schools. I like to call them germ factories. And the kids get sick and they come home, the parents get sick, and then they go to work, and then people at work get sick, and then they bring it home. And that's how this cycle starts, pretty much the same time every year. And then Halloween comes, and Halloween, we're eating a lot of sugar, which also suppresses our immune system. And then it just cascades into the stress of Christmas. And then you've got things that happen into the new year, and you're dealing with spring, things that are coming out that are new bugs and stuff that are arriving when the weather gets nicer. So it's kind of this big cycle, and it happens the same time every year, and it's for these types of reasons. So you may ask yourself, what's the difference between cold and flu? Well, if it's a cold, the onset's gradual. So you might get a little bit of a sore throat, a little bit of sniffles. With the flu, it's pretty sudden. It feels like you've been hit by a Mack truck. The fever in a cold is rare, mild. In a flu, it's usually common and it's usually higher. The body aches are mild with a cold, but with the flu, they're severe, and it's almost, always happens with the flu. The fatigue is mild with a cold, but with the flu, it can be very extreme. Chills with a cold are rare, but they're more common with the flu. Sneezing, sore throat, stuffy, runny nose is very common with a cold and not as common with the flu. Cough is a lot more mild, maybe to moderate in the cold, but in the flu, it's more dry and severe. And then the headache is more rare in the cold, unless it's a sinus cold, in which case, then, yeah, you might get more of a headache, but it is more common in the flu. So, this is a good way to figure out what you're dealing with at this time of year when you've got more than one thing going on. And I understand that bronchitis is going around right now too. So just one more thing to add to the list. So we're going to talk about the immune system and what it does and how it protects you. So it's more than just fighting germs. It also keeps everything in balance, removing old or damaged cells and ensuring internal order. It detects and eliminates threats, maintains homeostasis, which is that natural balance in your body, and it removes dead and malfunctioning cells. So very, very important part of our body. And there's both physical and chemical barriers. So that first layer of defense doesn't involve any cells at all. It's your body's external and chemical shields that keep invaders out. So you've got your mucous membranes, they trap germs in places like the nose and the lungs. Tears and saliva contain enzymes that break down microbes. Your stomach acid kills many invaders that come in through your food. And then, of course, your skin is just a barrier that prevents things from getting into your body. So none of these rely on immune cells. They're your body's built-in armor. So think of it like a suit of armor. Now you've got both your innate and adaptive immunity. So think of innate immunity as your first responders and adaptive immunity as your special forces. So I was trying to find a way to make it more easily understood. So one acts fast and the other brings precision and memory. So the innate is the fast, it's not very specific. And the adaptive is slow, it's specific, and it's memory based. And they both work together seamlessly. So let's get into this a little bit more. So innate immune cells are the body's first defenders. They act fast, they gobble up germs, and they send signals for backup. And that would be the phagocytes, like macrophages, as well as neutrophils, your natural killer cells, as well as your dendritic cells. So instead of targeting specific threats, they respond to a wide range of invaders using general tools. This quick response buys time for the more precise immune system to kick in, and that is your adaptive immunity. So adaptive immunity learns from every encounter. It tailors its attack to specific invaders and remembers them. It's mainly made up of B cells and T cells, and it has a specific response to pathogens. It takes time to activate, and it develops this memory. So, when your immune system overreacts, it mistakenly attacks healthy tissues in your body instead of just harmful invaders. So, this overreaction can cause allergic reactions, autoimmune diseases, or inflammation. And in extreme cases, it can lead to what's called a cytokine storm, where excessive immune chemicals cause widespread spread inflammation throughout the body. And that can damage your, things like the lungs and the kidneys long term. So essentially, your immune system turns against you when that happens. So we want to keep it calm. We want to make sure that it's working, but it's not overreacting. So this is just a little chart of what the B and T cells do. So they're both lymphocytes, but they have different roles. So the B cells, they make your antibodies to fight germs, they neutralize pathogens, they stop germs from spreading, and they will mature in the bone marrow. The T cells will find and kill infected cells, they help regulate immune responses, they help other immune cells, and they will mature in the thymus. So the lymphatic system is a system of lymph nodes and vessels, and it's like the immune highway. So it moves immune cells around, filters out unwanted materials, and one of the best things that you can do for your lymphatic system is to move. So it's very, very important. It does monitor for invaders. So when you've got like swollen lymph glands, it usually signals that there's something going on. There's some infection going on. Sometimes, like you'll feel it in your throat, or you might feel it under your arms or something. That's usually a sign that something is going on. So, lymphatic. I don't know if you guys know about lymphatic brushing, but it's really good. You just take a dry skin brush and then you would brush up towards the heart, your arms, your legs, you do it down your neck, you do it up from your stomach, up from your back towards the heart because it is a one-way system. It's a one-way valve system. And lymph, like with the blood going through your body, it uses the heart as a pump. The lymph uses movement. You have to move to get the lymph flowing. So, best thing to do is exercise. And a really fun exercise to do is those little mini trampolines. They're called rebounders. They're really good at getting the lymph flowing. And you can do it while you're watching TV or something. But getting that lymph flowing is very, very important. Now, you've got immune system organs, and each of these organs plays a vital role from producing cells to training and deploying them. They keep the immune system running. So, you've got the bone marrow, thymus, spleen, as well as your lymph nodes. And then your cytokines are the cell talk. So they're like text messengers between the cells. They help direct traffic and make sure that the right response is happening. So chemical messengers, they coordinate immune response, and the balance is critical. Now, I want to talk about the microbiome because I know we hear 70% of our immune system's in our gut. Well, what does that actually mean? Well, it's the gut-associated lymphoid tissue, which line your intestinal tract. That's where that 70% immunity, statistic comes in. That is where a lot of your immune system is. So it's very, very important to keep your gut happy and healthy and make sure things are moving. So gut bacteria, those are the good bacteria that live in your body. They're very important in supporting the immune system. So the microbiome, which is the bacteria that are on and in your bodies, they live on the body, they live in the body, and they support immunity by helping defend against harmful pathogens. They help train the immune system and they maintain immune balance. So a healthy microbiome supports overall immune balance. So if you have issues with digestion, if you're having issues with constipation, you got to make sure that things are working properly within your gut and that gut bacteria is nice and strong and healthy. So if you are someone who's not going to the bathroom, not having a good bowel movement at least once a day, then you might want to look into increasing your fiber intake. Make sure you're drinking enough water, maybe taking a probiotic that can really help with that. So microbiome, really key. I'm going to talk a little more about that a bit later. Now, immune memory, your immune system has encountered a pathogen. When that happens, it remembers how to fight it. And this memory makes future defenses much more efficient. So it responds more quickly over time, and it has this long-term natural protection. So that's what's great about our immune systems. And one of the things, like when we sleep, that's when our immune systems are really active as well. And I'm going to talk about that because sleep is going to be a big part of what we're going to talk about tonight and how important sleep is. And I'll talk about some good sleep hygiene habits and stuff like that as well. But first, I want to touch on stress. So, stress is a big, big factor, I think, in almost everybody's lives, especially nowadays. And short-term stress can actually be good. It can actually enhance immune readiness. So, it kind of gets you ready to either fight or run, and it gets all these things going. But chronic stress is what undermines immune health. When you're always chronically overworked, overburdened, overstressed, overworried, that's when it becomes a big problem. So, what is stress? There's different types of stress, actually. So, and it's pretty hot topic nowadays. So, rates of addictions, overdose, anxiety, depression, metabolic disorders, they've all started to go through the roof. Um, So let's break down what stress is. So, stress is how the brain and body respond to any demand, such as performance at work, school, a significant life change, or a traumatic event. Stress puts us into a state of nervous functioning called sympathetic, or what we also like to refer to as fight or flight. Eustress is a stress that is actually positive. So it's motivating, it enhances functioning. It's usually not considered a stress, but sometimes it's labeled as incentive, maybe motivating. And exercise could be considered eustress, unless some people see that as a punishment, in which case it's an actual stress. So usually in this situation, the energy provided is proportionate to what's needed for the actual situation. Distress is when it's excessive or when it's unusable, when we get overstressed and we don't either run or fight, which is usually the fight or flight response that our body has. If we're not using that somehow, then that's when it starts causing problems. Distress, these are the stresses that tend to stress people out. Distress tends to cause people to feel overwhelmed, anxious. They experience physical and physiological symptoms like headaches, tension, insomnia, inattentiveness, and irritability. Now, macro stresses, those would be things like toxic work environment, toxic relationships, stressful commute. Those are like the big things. Micro stresses are essentially the tiny little things that happen throughout the day. So maybe someone's not showing up on time, or you forgot to turn the coffee pot on, you're waiting for your coffee. Your partner doesn't do what they said they were going to do, getting stuck in traffic on your way home. Those are those micro stresses. So all of these things can cause stress in your body. And then it can really affect your hormones and sleep. So in this little, we're going to go clockwise, starting from stress triggered at the top. So stress triggers the fight or flight response. Then you've got the release of cortisol and adrenaline. Then you've got short-term stress. When it's managed effectively, that's great. Then you go back to the stress is triggered again, and it's a very, very small loop. But chronic stress causes prolonged cortisol elevation. And then elevated cortisol suppresses melatonin production. And then you have difficulty sleeping, and then you're tired and wired, and then the cycle repeats all over again. And I think this is where a lot of people find themselves, that they're stressed throughout the day. They take the stress to bed with them, they don't sleep properly, they wake up and they're behind the gun already, and they're just not feeling so great. And they could be having some of these symptoms here. So stress makes everything worse, especially your mood and then your sleep. So maybe it's irritability, depression. Maybe you're apathetic, mad, lonely, frustrated, nervous, explosive, jittery, anxious, sad, aggressive, impatient. So these are some of the words that we can probably relate to when we've been heading down this path of stress and we just haven't been able to address it properly. And then, of course, it ends up being more of a chronic situation. So this brings me into sleep and how important sleep is, because sleep is kind of like, in a lot of times, it's like that reset button, and we can wake up feeling a lot more refreshed. So the brain detoxifies and consolidates memories when you sleep. So very, very important for that. The body also repairs tissues and balances hormones, and your immune system resets. So sleep is more than just rest. It's a dynamic time for the brain to clean up, the muscles to recover, and your immune system to rebalance. So making sleep a very important part of your daily routine is really important. And I always tell people, like, make it a job. And that could be maybe saying, okay, I'm going to go to sleep at 9:30 every day because that's the time I fall asleep on the couch, and making sure your room is the right temperature, you've got comfortable pajamas, your bed is comfortable, that you've got blackout curtains. Make sure you turn off all of your electronics at least an hour before you go to bed. And even before that, put it into night mode so that you don't have that blue light stimulating your brain. Um, And for heaven's sakes, don't watch the news before you go to bed. And don't watch the news when you eat, because that's also really disruptive for your digestion. Because I don't know any news that's actually good and helpful and happy. It's mostly quite stressful, and it just creates more cortisol, which is your stress hormone, which of course can really muck up your sleep. So sleep will strengthen the immune memory and response. Deep sleep supports production of your infection fighting cells, and lack of sleep increases susceptibility to illness. So again, if you're not getting enough sleep, your immune system is more compromised, and chances are you're going to, be more susceptible to catching things as they're going around. So sleep does strengthen the immune memory and response. And during sleep, particularly during non-REM and REM cycles, the body processes and consolidates immune memories, just like it does with mental learning. And this helps the immune system respond more effectively to previously encountered pathogens like viruses as well as bacteria. Now, we also have something called the glymphatic system, and this is the brain's waste removal system. And this system works while you sleep. It literally cleans out the brain, and missing deep sleep means more mental and immune sluggishness. And I think most of us can probably relate to that when we wake up in the morning and we haven't had enough sleep and we're in this mental fog and we just can't seem to get on track. So it is, as I mentioned, only active during deep sleep, and it will clear out those toxins. So you want to make sure you're getting into that deep sleep. Now, sleep also has an effect on gut health, and gut microbes follow circadian rhythms, just like a lot of other things in your body. And poor sleep disrupts digestion. So it impacts immune response from the gut as well. And the microbiome is a community of the microbes living on and in your body, as I mentioned. So it supports immunity by helping defend against those pathogens, like I said. And getting enough sleep is going to impact your digestive tract. So you'll see now how immunity is connected to digestion, is connected to sleep, and how important it is for all of those things to be balanced. And I promise I'm going to give you ways to do all of that as we go along. So, immune system and sleep quality. So, poor sleep reduces white blood cells. So, that's another thing working against immunity. When you sleep less, you produce fewer infection fighting cells and messengers. So, it's like showing up to battle with fewer soldiers. So there's fewer cytokines for defense, and it increases your risk of infection. So again, sleep is key. And signs that you're not sleeping well is when you wake up unrefreshed. Maybe you're irritable, you've got anxiety during the day, maybe you've got more frequent colds or infections. So if you see these signs, your sleep not be restorative. You may not be getting into those deep REM stages where you need for your lymphatic system, but also for your immune system. And so that could be all paying the price if you're not sleeping properly. If you're someone who snores or you are with someone who snores, you make sure you get that checked out too. Talk to your doctor, get a sleep test done. Could have sleep apnea, and that's when you're not getting enough oxygen. And so like you literally stop breathing. And so your brain's not getting enough oxygen, your body's not getting enough oxygen, and then your body is in this fight or flight mode like throughout the night. So your blood pressure can increase, your cortisol is going to increase. The reason I know this is because I have sleep apnea and I've got a CPAP, and it changed my life overnight. I was a cranky, cranky toddler every day because I wasn't getting enough sleep. I was napping probably 5, 6 times a day. And then it got to be an issue when I was noticing that I was having problems driving. I was really tired and I wanted to go to sleep. So I went and got it checked out. Sure enough, I had sleep apnea and I didn't know I had it. And it was my dentist actually that pointed it out. She noticed a lot of wear on my teeth. So if you grind your teeth, I was grinding my teeth to actually wake myself up. So I just mentioned this to you guys because it is a very big condition that a lot of people have. And even kids can have this issue with if they snore a lot and they stop breathing when they're sleeping, it can cause a cascade of other problems. So if you know a snorer, if you are a snorer, go get it checked out. So, what can you do to support your body? So, I've talked about all these things and all these things that can happen, but prevention is key to keeping yourself healthy, especially during this time through the cold and flu season. There are a lot of things that you can do, and this is where you become empowered. And the first one is nutrition. So, balanced diets support optimal immune function. So, this includes foods like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, healthy fats. So, these nutrients help maintain and regulate immune cells, the antibodies, and other defense mechanisms. Think of it as giving your immune system the tools it needs to do its job effectively. Now, micronutrients also play a big role. So these would be your vitamins and minerals. So vitamin A, C, D, E, zinc, all of those things, they specifically play a role in immune responses. So let's say vitamin C boosts white blood cell production. Vitamin D modulates inflammation, and zinc is vital for immune cell development. So even mild deficiencies can actually impair immune function. So I've given some suggestions there, and it's great. Like if you look at some of those ingredients, like you could make a salad out of all of that, so that it's not as difficult as some people think it might be. But if you are challenged to get some of these nutrients into your diet, that's where supplementation helps as well. I'm a holistic nutritionist. I believe that we should be getting most of our nutrients from our food, but in today's, day and age, maybe our food isn't as nutrient dense as it was. So taking a supplement is kind of like an insurance policy. It's kind of guaranteeing that you're going to get the nutrients that you need. Now, sleep, I've already talked about that quite a bit. But good sleep helps your body manage stress by lowering those stress hormones like cortisol. It also boosts your immune system, making it stronger and better able to fight off illnesses. And getting enough rest keeps you feeling calm, healthy, and ready to face challenges. So you can Google sleep hygiene and get lots of great ideas to help with your sleep schedule. I think one of the easiest things, one of the things that I changed in my life was I was falling asleep on the couch at 9:30 every day, but I'd force myself to stay up until 11. I don't know why. It was a habit I've always had, but I just was always falling asleep at 9:30. When I finally realized that and started going to bed at 9:30, my sleeps were so much better. I felt so much better when I woke up in the morning. Yes, I woke up earlier, but with way more energy. My brain was clear. I was excited to get on with the day, and it just made a big difference. So, pay attention to when your body's tired. If you are watching TV or something and you realize that you're just, not 9:30, you're falling asleep at 9:30 every day, maybe go to sleep at that time and see how you feel the next day and find your perfect sleep schedule. Now, exercise is also very supportive for your immune system. It boosts immune cell circulation. So, moderate exercise improves blood flow, helps immune cells move through the body more efficiently, and this means your body can detect and respond to infections faster. It reduces inflammation and stress, and chronic inflammation and stress hormones like cortisol can really weaken your immune system. So, even short workouts or like going for walks or something like that, that all counts. And of course, it strengthens your defenses over time. So, regular activity builds long term resilience, making you less likely to get sick. And studies show active people tend to get fewer colds and recover faster when they do. So try to add exercise if you're not already doing it. Um, Make sure that you add it into your regime. And if you do get sick, give yourself a rest. Don't be, going to the gym and, putting more stress on your body. If you do get sick, take that time to rest and recover. And that's when drink soups on the couch under a blanket and maybe a heating pad or something like that. But that's when you're gentle on your body and you don't want to give it any extra stress. Good hygiene habits. I think a lot of us learned this, during COVID, making sure that we clean our hands. And I always say like just soap and water is enough. The antibacterial stuff that we use, there's a time and a place for that. But we have good bacteria on our skin that protect us as well, as I was talking about earlier. So using antibacterial thing products can kill off the good bacteria that's actually protecting you. So soap and water, for the most part, is usually enough unless you're in a situation where you need to have the antimicrobial products as well. So hand washing is that first line of defense, and then supporting the immune system by preventing overload. So the more that you can prevent these germs from, getting in your body or exposing it to other people, the better. So practicing good hygiene like regular bathing, cleaning frequently touched surfaces, coughing into the crook of your arm, using tissues when you sneeze, they all limit that spread of viruses and bacteria. And this minimizes the chances of infection, especially in shared spaces or during outbreaks. Stress reduction. I know we talked a lot about this. How on earth do we do it in this day and age when there is so much stress around us? One of the things that I personally did for myself is I turned off all my notifications for social media, especially, and then some other notifications, so that when I was ready, when I was in a good place and I was in a good headspace, I could actually go look at it myself instead of hearing the bang and looking at my phone. It was kind of that automatic reaction. So there's lots of things that you can do, and it depends on what's happening in your life and what your habits are. But we know that chronic stress suppresses the immune system. So finding the things that help with stress is really important. That could be going for a walk. It could be grounding, where you put your feet on the ground. Maybe it's hugging a tree. It could be crocheting or knitting, a mind-body practice. So you're doing deep breathing or yoga or Tai Chi. There's a lot of different things out there. But one of my favorites, and I do this in every presentation that I ever do, is called VU breathing. I'm not sure if anybody's ever heard of it, but it was put together by a Dr. Peter Levine, who works with people with PTSD. And when he works with them and they go back to those moments that caused the trauma and the trauma response, they have these big responses, and they're like catatonic, or they're crying, or they're hysterical. And so what he does is he gets them to do this VU breathing. So I'm going to do it, and I want you guys to do it with me. And then I want you to put in the chat how you felt after we do it together. So it's very simple. And it's a great thing that you can do if you have kids, you can teach them to do it. It's just a great way to calm you down very quickly. So very simple. All you do is breathe in. I'm going to do that 3 times. Next time, just put your hand on your throat. Voo. Voo. Okay, so I want you guys to put in the chat how you felt after doing that. What I always feel when I do this exercise, and it almost makes me want to put the slide at the beginning, is it makes me slow down when I speak. But what I notice when I'm doing this in person and I'm looking at an audience, I notice that people's shoulders start to go down. So when we get stressed out, we breathe up into our lungs. Our shoulders are way up here by our ears. And one of the things I notice is people start to relax, and there's an opening up in here. I notice that people start yawning as well. And one of the things that I do is I do this in Toronto traffic, because I live in Toronto. I do this in traffic. I do it before I'm about to do a talk, because what it does is it stimulates when you feel that vibration. What that's doing is it's stimulating your vagus nerve. And your vagus nerve gets your parasympathetic nervous system going, which is your rest and digest system. So that's what really helps to calm you down very quickly. And I find that with kids, like they love doing this one and they do notice a big difference. So it's something that you can do anywhere, anytime, doesn't cost you a cent. You just might want to let people know what you're doing in case they wonder. So I'll look at the chat later to see what some of the things are that you guys felt as you did that. But my all-time favorite thing to do to calm down, pardon me, is to spend time with your pet. This was Seamus. Unfortunately, he went to the great beyond rainbow in the sky last year, but he was 23, and this cat really knew how to relax. So just petting a dog or cat can create a calming effect and improve overall mood. It significantly reduces stress and promotes relaxation by releasing oxytocin, and that is your feel-good hormone. It can also lower cortisol levels and combat feelings of loneliness. So, anybody who has a cat, their cats really use their parasympathetic nervous system. When they purr, that's what activates that. And I remember taking Seamus to the vet and he would purr. And I was like, oh, he loves going to the vet or he loves getting his claws clipped. No, he doesn't. It was his way of calming himself down. Is the purring gets that vagus nerve going. So singing, chanting, deep breathing, sleeping on your right side, all of those things will stimulate your vagus nerve. But yeah, it was interesting, when I kind of equated that to Seamus and how he would purr to calm himself down. But if you have a pet, like think of how that makes you feel when you come home at the end of the day and that animal is just so happy to see you. It just makes you feel so good inside. I remember if I had stressful days, I'm lucky I get to work from home. If I had a stressful day, I would go lie down with him. And I always said he helped me breathe. He just helped me to relax and breathe. And then I would take a short nap and I'd wake up and I'd feel refreshed and I'd feel better. So if you have a pet, please spend more time with them because that's really going to help with your stress and your nervous system. All right. Next part, we're going to talk about some supportive supplements. So we talked about diet, we talked about some lifestyle things that we can do. And sometimes diet and lifestyle changes aren't enough. And that's where CanPrev can help. So I'm going to go through different sections, and this is going to be related to immunity. So the first one is prevention. So prevention is key to keeping yourself healthy. So whether that's through food or including some of the things like these products through the cold and flu season, there's a time and a place. You might not need all of these, but I am going to talk about them because it's kind of like more shots on goal. I'm going to talk about these products and they might resonate for some people and for some others it might not. So we're going to go through a few of these. So the Immunomulti is an advanced daily and true antioxidant multivitamin, and it helps to optimize healthy immune system function and support normal growth and development. It provides higher than average levels of antioxidants with 200 milligrams of green tea extract, 200 milligrams of N-acetylcysteine, as well as 120 micrograms of resveratrol, plus others in a daily dose. So we've got 21 essential vitamins and minerals and 10 antioxidants. So it is the ideal core nutritional platform for all adults. And I'll let you in on a little secret. CanPrev is 20 years old this year, and this was the very first product that was ever developed. So Tanya Saloturo, who started CanPrev, fought breast cancer 3 times. And CanPrev came about because she wanted to find products that helped her through her cancer journey and through the chemotherapy that she was having. And she was having a difficult time. So this is where she came up with this product. So it's kind of neat, the story behind CanPrev and how it started. And it all started with this product. Now, we did talk about the fact that 70% of your immune system is in your gut, and it's a network called the gut-associated lymphoid tissue, and it helps your body recognize and fight off harmful microbes. So probiotics, those are the good bacteria. They support the system by adding more of this good bacteria, which strengthens the gut barrier, communicates with immune cells, and helps to keep your defenses strong. So probiotics help support lung health as well. You'll see there's actual claims for lung health with a lot of probiotics by balancing the gut microbiome, which is closely linked to the immune system. And a healthy gut can improve immune responses, reduce inflammation, and help protect the lungs from infections and respiratory illnesses. So I chose this one. We have more than one formula, but this is a pretty good one right about now. It's the extra strength 50 billion. So we've got 14 strains in here. We've got ones that live in the small intestine as well as the large intestine. It's 50 billion CFU, which stands for colony forming units, or bugs, as my dad used to say. Um, so a lot of people say, wow, 50 billion, that's a lot. We have 100 trillion bacteria in our body, so 50 billion is a drop in the bucket. But right about now is really good while we're going through cold and flu season to have maybe a bit of a higher dose. We also have one that's 15 billion that you might want to use when it's springtime, when we don't need the bigger doses to support you. It's also shelf stable. You only need to take one a day, and there's 20 milligrams of vitamin C as well. And it's in a blister pack, so it's very convenient to take anywhere, anytime. You can pop it in your backpack, or if you travel, you can just put it in there, and it's very convenient. You don't need to put it in the fridge. Having said that, some people do choose to put it in the fridge. That's not a problem. Another question I get, I might as well address all of these things before I keep going. Um, Another question that I get a lot is when to take a probiotic. So that's a really good question. So some people take it in the morning because that's the only time they can remember to take it, and they'll take it along with the rest of their other supplements. Some people take it when they eat because it actually helps you digest your food better. And then some people take it at night before they go to bed because it helps with a good bowel movement the next day. So my answer to when should I take a probiotic is whenever you're going to remember to take a probiotic. But make sure that if you are on any medication, that you usually take it 2 to 3 hours away from probiotics because you don't want to contraindicate them. So if you have any questions related to probiotics, just pop it in the chat and I'll answer those questions at the end. Next, we have our multi-mushroom full spectrum, and it helps to support and stimulate the immune system. It's a source of antioxidants. It's a blend of 7 medicinal mushrooms, and we use both the fruiting body extract as well as the cultured mycelium. So the fruiting body refers to the reproductive part of the fungus, and it's usually the stalk. So the stalk and the cap. So it's everything above the soil. So this part of the mushroom can be used to create potent extracts using hot water and alcohol. So the mycelium consists of a mass of branching filaments like the root system or web, and it often grows under the soil. And that has its own separate set of nutrients to it. So we've kind of put them both together. So the mycelium is grown, then it's dried, then it's milled into a fine powder, and we've combined them both together so that you get the potent dose of all of these constituents of mushrooms because they're just powerhouses. So this formula has chaga, cordyceps, lion's mane, maitake, reishi, shiitake, and turkey tail. So it's good for everything, like immune support. It's good for your brain. It's good for phytonutrients. It's fantastic. So again, this is something that I personally take at this time of year when I'm on planes. I'm in health food stores all the time, and I'm dealing with people that might be already sick. This really helps to support my immune system. Then we've got the vitamin D3 and K2. So this helps build and maintain bone health, but we also know that it has a role in enhancing the immune system by helping the body fight infections and reduce inflammation. It helps regulate immune responses and can protect against diseases by ensuring proper calcium and phosphorus metabolism, which is crucial for overall health and disease prevention. And of course, that's the vitamin D. The vitamin K works synergistically with the vitamin D to improve its utilization in the body and may also aid in the synthesis of neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, which is really good for mood regulation. And I think that's part of the reason why it's also good for times of stress. So this one has no fillers, excipients, and artificial colors. We've got it in a capsule, like a little tiny capsule, easy to swallow, but we also have it in a liquid as well, and it's quite bioavailable. Then we've got our Zinc 50 Ultra Immune Plus Vitamin C. So we know that zinc is very important supporting the development and function of immune cells. It also reduces inflammation and aids in the body's defense against viruses and bacteria. And so this one is a highly absorbable form of zinc called zinc bisglycinate, and it's bound to amino acid glycine, which the body can absorb more easily than other forms of zinc. But in this formula, we also have that 400 milligrams of vitamin C. So these are essential nutrients for ultra immune support. So we've known for a long time zinc and vitamin C during cold and flu season, very important. It's nice to have a good strong dose of both in a convenient form. So that's prevention. That's to keep you from getting sick. But if you do get sick, we've got a few products for that. So Cold Pro has 7 potent supporting nutrients plus antiviral and antibacterial herbs. It helps maintain and strengthen the immune system, aids in symptomatic relief of colds and flus, and helps speed recovery. I can tell you for a fact this works very quickly because I had to take this in September and I knew I was getting sick. I was kind of on the verge of it. And so I started taking this and I was shocked that it didn't get any further than it did because in the past it has happened for me. So I was really happy because this was the first year that I had actually tried this and it worked really, really well for me. So hopefully you don't need it, but if you do, it's got like andrographis, echinacea, those both boost infection resistance. It's got reishi mushrooms, astragalus. They help provide antiviral and immune modulating effects. There's vitamin C and zinc in there, which enhance our immune function, and it helps to shorten the duration of colds. And then there's even American ginseng in there, which helps to support lung health and cough relief. So it really does help speed the recovery. And then, of course, elderberry. Elderberry is best known to help alleviate cold and flu by acting as a diaphoretic to help promote sweating. So you're going to help sweat it out. And that helps rid the body of toxins. But it's also been used in traditional medicine for centuries as an anti-inflammatory remedy to help with everything from allergies, aches, fevers, skin, joint, and immune-related conditions. This is ridiculously yummy. It tastes fantastic. If you haven't tried it before, it's super yummy. So it helps to relieve fever in cases of common colds and flu, helps to relieve symptoms of colds and flu such as cough, sore throat, and catarrh, which is when your body makes too much mucus. And it helps support joint pain associated with conditions such as arthritis in adults and helps encourage healthy detoxification. So we have it available in both a liquid form as well as a chewable form. And then, of course, good old oregano oil. This is something that really helps to fight cold and flu symptoms by reducing inflammation and killing viruses and bacteria. It's a steam distilled, wild crafted oregano oil from Mediterranean, and it contains 75% naturally occurring carvacrol, and it's suspended in a medium chain triglyceride base made from coconut and palm oils, which don't oxidize from light and heat and exposure like some other oils can. Oregano oil is one of those things that you take when you get sick. It's not something you need to take all the time. So kind of like if you've ever taken homeopathics, once the symptoms are gone, you don't need to take any more. That's with oregano oil. But oregano oil is also one of those good things. If you know that things are going around and you're kind of feeling a little bit of a tickle, you can take a little bit. And again, hopefully it could stave it off. But Once you're better, you don't need to take it anymore. And then for stress, because we focused a lot on stress, and stress is such a big underlying factor, we do have a few products for that. So it really depends on where you are on the stress spectrum, we'll call it. Healthy Mood is formulated with saffron, GABA, 5-HTP, active B vitamins, magnesium, and zinc, and it promotes healthy mood management from regulating neurotransmitters and the stress response to nerve and brain function as well. And it can also help reduce the severity and duration of migraine headaches when taken as a preventative, and it aids in immune system support. So it's kind of a good all-around thing. So there's saffron in there, which in studies has actually been shown to go up against antidepressants and getting really, really good outcomes. And it helps with symptoms of depression and anxiety. But we also have that 5-HTP in there as well. And that helps assist with mood regulation and sleep. And of course, B vitamins are super important when it comes to stress. And folate, magnesium, and zinc are in there as well. So it's kind of nice to have a formula that includes a whole bunch of things together to help with things that you know are going to probably be underlying symptoms of stress. So it's a very convenient product. And so is our Adrenal Pro. This has again, a lot of different nutrients in it to help support your adrenal glands. So it helps increase energy and reduce stress and fatigue, enhances physical and mental performance, and provides an improved sense of well-being. So it's got adaptogenic herbs and nutrients used in herbal medicine, specifically formulated to provide an improved sense of well-being and help improve mental and physical performance after periods of exertion. So we've got L-tyrosine, vitamin B5, ashwagandha, schizandra, Siberian ginseng, rhodiola, astragalus, and vitamin B6. So again, all in one great formula. I really wish I knew about this formula when I was probably in my 20s and 30s, because then my adrenals would be in much better shape now that I'm in menopause. Because when you go into menopause and your ovaries stop producing estrogen, your adrenal glands are supposed to start taking up some of that production. And of course, if they're shot by that time, they're not going to be doing their job and you're going to get much stronger symptoms of menopause. So if you're one of those people out there, or if you know someone, in their 20s and 30s and they're dealing with a lot of stress, Adrenal Pro is kind of like, I like to say it's a multivitamin for your adrenal glands. It really is going to help nourish them and support them. But for those immediate times of stress when you need a chill pill, we have Adrenal Chill. This is how I remember chill pill. So this provides 600 milligrams of KSM 66 ashwagandha per dose, and it's the highest concentration full spectrum extract of ashwagandha. It reduces cortisol and stress. It works very fast. It's 200 milligrams of L-theanine per dose to promote relaxation without sedation, and enhances both physical, mental, and sexual health. I find this works very, very quickly to help you calm down quickly. So some people might need it at the beginning of the day if they've got a stressful day, or even if they wake up feeling stressed, it can help relax you. But it also is something that you can take during the day. Let's say you're about to go into a meeting, or you're going to sit in traffic for an hour and a half, or maybe you want to take it at night before you go to sleep. So it's one of those things, it's just going to help you relax. I have some pretty intricate tattoos on me. I take this when I go get my tattoos done, because someone's poking a needle in me for 9 hours or 8 hours. So this really helps to just kind of keep me stressed. It just balances out these stressful feelings that I have, and I feel so much more relaxed. And then of course magnesium is magnesium does over 800 is involved in over 800 functions in our body. That's an astronomical amount for a poor little mineral to do. So taking magnesium every day is important. But this one in particular is magnesium, but it also has ashwagandha, vitamins B5, B6, and C. So this is going to help with mental calmness, irritability, concentration, encourages quality sleep. It's also going to help relax your muscles. So Magnesium is so good for so many things, but with these added ingredients, it really helps with the stress release. And last but not least, some people might need a little extra help with their sleep. And this is where we have two products that can be taken about 30 to 60 minutes before bedtime. So, depending on what you're having problems with sleep, would depend which formula that you take. So we've got the Sleep Restore with ashwagandha. This is like the third time I think ashwagandha has come up. It is fantastic. This one helps relieve stress that contributes to sleeplessness, counteracts the impacts of stress hormones, and it's melatonin free. Some people can't take melatonin. For some people, it might cause nightmares. If you're one of those people that's ever had a nightmare when they take melatonin, that's probably what's causing it. So it is melatonin free, and it contains amino acids and herbs that have a mildly sedating effect, and they calm you down, they relax you, and you can just ease into a restful sleep. It is non-habit forming, and it's one of those products that if you wake up again during the night, you can take it and you're not going to feel groggy in the morning. Now, this is the Sleep Restore ashwagandha. The Sleep Reset with melatonin, which is a darker bottle. This one helps to reset the circadian rhythm, helps prevent effects of jet lag. This one does have the melatonin in it. And melatonin is a hormone that helps establish a healthy sleep-wake cycle, and it acts as a powerful antioxidant in the brain. So it may offer some support for hormone-related headaches and stuff like that. I know some people that take it for that. But this formulation also contains amino acids and herbs that have a mildly sedating and relaxing effect, calming the mind as well. So this one is really good if you're trying to reset. Let's say you are a shift worker, or if you're dealing with jet lag, it really can help reset things. You would not take this if you wake up in the middle of the night, because it does have a few herbs in there that are sedative as well as that melatonin. So if you took it too close to when you want to wake up, you'll feel really groggy. So again, take this about an hour before you go to sleep. If you wake up during the night, don't take it again. But if you happen to have the other formula, you could take it again. It wouldn't cause any problems. So to recap, the immune system is very complex. It's very powerful. The innate and adaptive immune systems work together, and maintaining healthy immunity through healthy choices and supplemental support is key. So the immune system, it really is your body's silent warrior. And so with a little care, you can keep it strong. And one of my favorite sayings is mind over matter is not simply a catchphrase. It's a truth based on what we know to be fact, that the brain, given the right set of directions, the right environment, and the proper stimuli, will always choose healing over disease. So give the body what it needs, and it will create that homeostasis, which is that balance in the body. So think about what's the one thing that you're going to promise yourself today that you're going to do for yourself. So for me, I'm going to make sure I keep going to bed at 9:30 every night, because I know I get better sleeps and I wake up more refreshed the next day. So write it down. I want you to write it down. I want you to make that promise to yourself. And, in a month or 2 months or 3 months, look back at that. Did you keep that promise to yourself? And did it make a difference by doing that in your life? And I want to also mention we've got a Flip the Silver Cap giveaway. So Healthy Planet does have these bottles. So when you get the bottle, you'll see win $500. You'll see on that little picture there. If you flip the cap, there's 20 different prizes that we're giving away, because it's our 20th anniversary this year, of $500 in CanPrev products. So that's pretty cool. It's especially marked bottles of magnesium bisglycinate 200 gentle. So it has to be that type of magnesium. So you'll see it on the bottle. So look for that bottle the next time that you're picking up your magnesium. And then, of course, For all those who stayed till the end, thank you so, so much. I really appreciate it. We will be pulling a name from those participants. As I said, we can see in the back end how many people stayed on right till the end. And we're going to put those names into a hat and we're going to pick somebody to win this prize pack, and you will be notified by email. And I'm going to take Q&A for a second after, but I just want to mention some free resources. I'm going to leave this up for a few minutes if you want to take a screenshot or if you want to write some of this down. We do have a website, canprev.ca/immune. We also have immune supporting recipes, canprev.ca/immune #recipes. And we also have our 21-day gut reset course. It is not a timed thing. You can just do it on your own time, whenever it's convenient for you. So that's a 21-day gut reset, because maybe that's the issue that you're having and it's the underlying issue behind everything else, and you want to get back on track, so that can really help. And you can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook. That's where we have a lot of different events and little contests and stuff like that. So you can follow us on our socials as well. And then you can find out where we are. We might be doing a pop-up somewhere. So I'm going to stop the recording, and then I'm going to start taking questions. Okay.